the Rougeau brothers started with me and Raymond, and then the fabulous Rougeau brothers, Jimmy Hart became our manager. We did 4 years, a four year run, and my brother Raymond retired. He didn't want to wrestle anymore, and I was at the prime of my career, and so I went home, and I had a son. My wife had a son, and next thing you know, a year later, I get a phone call, and it's Vince McMahon calling me up and saying, Jacques, I want you to become the Mountie. And I'm saying, what? And then he says, you're going to become a police law enforcement officer. We have the big boss man in the United States, and we're going to do a giant feud against the Canadian cop and the American cop. And it started, it was so wild and blurry when I first started the character. And then as we went along, I kind of find myself comfortable in the position, till a couple of years later we end up in Madison Square Gardens with a blow-off match, with a Jailhouse match, where if you haven't seen it, I'm sure you heard of it, where the losers spend the night in the New York's precinct. And I heard it so much, signing autographs around the world, people tell me, oh, Jacques, that was so funny at the end when the big giant gay guy kind of looked at you, and that moment of all what they did around that evening at Madison Square Gardens, from me being locked up in the truck and thrown out of the fifth floor of the Madison Square Gardens, till between every matches they were going back to the segment, or Mean Gene Okerlund and Gorilla Monsoon were saying, let's go back to the precinct and see how the Mountie's doing. And then there was segments going on like that, and it was just amazing, the interest that and Big Boss Man, Lord save his soul, he was. People didn't have a chance to know Big Boss Man Ray Traylor as I did, because I traveled with him around the world, and I got to tell you today, he's the kindest person you'd ever want to meet. He's got class. He's got he was a great person. And anyway, long story short, is the Mountie came upon like that, and what a great character. I owe that to Vince McMahon.